Welcome everybody to the very first Doomsday Select. And we are here on a very rainy night in Chattanooga, Tennessee to see fans vote for the matches they want to see. Every match has been given 3 stipulations and the fans have voted. And we are here to see the results, starting with the 5-on-5. With 42% of the fan vote, a steel cage match, Bloodline versus NWO. Alright everybody, this is first to a pinfall. You have to get the pinfall on top of the cage. Referee Julia Price is on top of the cage on a platform, and you have to drag your opponent to the platform to get the pin. Not here, wait till you get to the ring. And the cage that will surround the ring and hold all 10 participants in, but only momentarily. As you see now, Julia Price has been lowered down on a steel platform that you have to make the pin on for your team to be successful. Making their way to the ring, the team of Dominic Mysterio, Samoa Joe, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, and The Rock, the Bloodline. You see Dominic Mysterio just blow right past the rest of the Bloodline. Will he be on the same page? It's a last-minute helping of Dominic Mysterio with the Bloodline. They asked for his help. And we'll see how much of himself he is willing to give to the Bloodline here tonight. And their opponents, the NWO, Undertaker, Disciple, Sting, Scott Hall. Wait a minute, where did Muda go? The Great Muda was right behind NWO. I seen him when they were announcing the steel cage match. It's just 4 of them now. I don't even think they know that Muda's not there. What? Wait a minute. Andre the Giant. Making his way, and there's CM Punk. Andre the Giant. And he just spray painted the face of CM Punk. The NWO infamous spray paint, and the match has started. And here we go, Roman Reigns, Sting, Jey Uso, The Undertaker, all going at it head-to-head. Scott Hall kicking Samoa Joe off of the coquina clutch he had on Undertaker. And then Dominic Mysterio frog splashes Scott Hall. Backsplash by Samoa Joe. The Rock standing on the throat of the Disciple until Andre the Giant slaps him off. And Dominic Mysterio jumps on the head of Andre, tries to Hurricane Run. Andre just leaps up and slams Dominic on top of the cage. And then Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, a spear super kick combination to Andre. Undertaker slamming Samoa Joe's head into the corner. Jey Uso with a splash to Scott Hall, and then The Rock stomping Scott Hall. Dominic Mysterio on top of the cage. Stinger splash to Jey Uso. The Undertaker's got Samoa Joe up on the top rope. Choke slam from the top rope by The Undertaker. Sting's got the Scorpion Death Drop on Jey Uso, but The Rock saves him. The Rock taken inside out. He just had an amazing LZW World Championship match with Great Muda this past Desolation. Scorpion Death Drop to Samoa Joe by Sting. And the big question tonight is, where is Muda? Dominic Mysterio comes off the top of the cage and splashes down in the center of the ring. The Undertaker's got Samoa Joe on the apron, and Disciple with the Undertaker signature leg drop. The Undertaker said, I'm going to show you how it's done. Goes for the elbow, but Joe out of the way. Joe throws Undertaker into the post. Disciple misses his forearm to Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe Uranagi's Disciple on the apron and sends the Undertaker back first into the post. And then a Uranagi for Undertaker on top of Disciple on the apron. Samoa Joe on the apron. And the backsplash to Undertaker. Disciple had already rolled into the ring. Undertaker ate all of that backsplash. Scott Hall sends Samoa Joe out on the apron. Clotheslines him out of the ring. Jey Uso trying to take Scott Hall out, but Scott Hall shrugs off Jey Uso. Dominic Mysterio with a drop kick. The Rock back to his feet. Disciple gets knocked down. Undertaker gets a kick to the midsection. Undertaker throws it away. Undertaker goes for a clothesline. Rock ducks underneath. And the Rock throws Scott Hall into the Undertaker. The Undertaker saves his partner, but the Rock comes after both of them. The Rock was setting him up for a double. He's got them both up. Look at the strength of The Rock with a double Rock bottom. And the Disciple captures The Rock in a leg lock. Dominic Mysterio pushing Sting into the steel cage. And Disciple with a headbutt to Dominic Mysterio with the leg lock still on The Rock. Breaking up Dominic Mysterio, pushing Sting into that cage. Vicious. And Andre throws Roman Reigns into the side of the steel cage, and then his back gets raked coming down on the cage. Andre gets picked up by Roman, and back body dropped on that stage prop. That is Stone. And Samoa Joe with a backsplash. The Rock, what a clothesline to Sting and Disciple. Death Valley driver to Dominic Mysterio on top of the back of The Rock. Back and forth this is going. Still the big question is what happened to Muta? He was here at the beginning of the show. Roman Reigns Superman punch to Disciple. And Roman Reigns with Disciple up on the top rope. Disciple grabs hold of the cage and pulls himself on top of the cage and pulls Roman Reigns up there with him. Just one pinfall will end this match. It has to be on top of the platform where Julia Price is. Roman Reigns and Disciple on top of the cage. Disciple swinging neckbreaker to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns close to the edge. And Undertaker jumps up and pulls Roman Reigns down off the edge into a tombstone pile driver off the top of the cage. Rock back body dropping Undertaker out of the ring, and Scott Hall comes after The Rock. Big jawbreaker by Scott Hall. Scott Hall slamming The Rock into the corner. Samoa Joe's got Andre the Giant Coquina clutch, but Andre gets out with a jawbreaker, and Andre with a giant elbow drop. I cannot believe Andre is helping NWO. Is he a full-fledged member? Or is he like Dominic Mysterio to Bloodline? Jey Uso just pulled Disciple off the top of the steel cage. And then Andre drop kicks Jey Uso in the cage and powerbombs him on top of Samoa Joe. Disciple came all the way off the top of that cage to the floor. Dominic Mysterio with a frog splash crossbody, but gets caught by Andre. But Dom turns it into a head scissor and head scissoring Andre into the side of that steel cage. And Dominic Mysterio, Tiger feint kick. He had to do it twice. He didn't have enough leg reach. And a third time, Dominic Mysterio stomping down on Andre on the cage, using the cage to his advantage. Andre just propelled Dominic all the way to the top of the cage. And Roman Reigns dives out on top of Andre the Giant, taking the Giant down. The Rock boot to Scott Hall. Scott Hall reverses it, but The Rock throws it away. Scott Hall falls down and rolls up The Rock. Scott Hall trying to hold The Rock down. The Rock keeps coming back, but he gets neck breakered right there and right into the Undertaker's choke slam. Choke slam to The Rock by Undertaker. And Sting's back in the ring. And now Sting putting the Scorpion Death Drop on The Rock. Turns him over, and he's got that bad boy locked in. Scott Hall climbs to the top of the steel cage, and Dominic Mysterio tries to retreat. Scott Hall rolls Dominic Mysterio up. Dominic with kicks to the head of Scott Hall, and Scott Hall gets out and slams Dominic into the side of that steel wall. Dominic with a headlock takeover to Scott Hall, and still trying to get away. But Scott Hall coming after Dominic, catches him, and look at that, catapulting Dominic Mysterio face first into the side of that cage wall. And he lands on the barbed wire trap. Scott Hall raking Dominic Mysterio's face in the barbed wire, gruesome, and pulls him back up. Razor's Edge, Outsider's Edge onto the barbed wire. Roman Reigns suplexing Andre the Giant. Undertaker diving out, clunking heads with Roman Reigns. And Disciple on the side of that cage, knee to the back of Samoa Joe. Sting still got Scorpion Deathlock in on The Rock. Scott Hall pulls Dominic Mysterio in the pin. Yeah. And Dominic Mysterio kicks out Jey Uso with two Samoan drops to Disciple on those steps. And Scott Hall, Outsider's Edge to Dominic Mysterio. Undertaker climbing up to help Scott Hall secure the victory, pulling Dominic Mysterio back to the platform, and NWO takes the win. No! Jey Uso had climbed up the steel wall and breaks up the count, but Sting is also there. Sting meets him up, but Roman Reigns just threw Sting off the top of that wall, and Samoa Joe climbs up the cage, backsplash to Sting. Roman Reigns holding Scott Hall back. And no, Scott Hall able to get out of the clutches of Reigns to break it up. And Andre the Giant's got a hold of Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns gets thrown off the cage. Gets pulled off the cage by Andre. Andre with the elbow drop. And Andre the Giant secures the win. He may not be a full-fledged member, but he certainly got the win for NWO here tonight. What a win! Scott Hall, Andre the Giant, Sting, Undertaker, and Disciple. It may not look it, because look at the destruction. But the NWO are victorious in the first match of the night. Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, mixed tag team action for the mixed tag team championships. Stephanie McMahon and JJ Justice, the champions, take on the Exhalator and Thunder Rosa. Lightning and Thunder. Alright guys, it is time to find out what kind of match you guys will be having. And the results, with 52% of the fan vote, you guys will be competing in a ladder match. Making their way to the ring, the challengers, Exhalator and Thunder Rosa, Thunder and Lightning. And their opponents, the mixed tag team champions, JJ Justice and Stephanie McMahon.
I'm all grown up now, and I listen and learn the true star, and I'm finally getting my turn. Took my L, earned my spot. I'ma be here for a minute, sonny boy, if you like it or not. I'm on a yacht, though, laid back, sun in my face, just like Pablo or Tony Man.
There we go. Julia Price putting the titles where they will be hung up high above the ring. And there they go, and this match is underway. Julia Price getting out of the ring. No referee needed for a ladder match. Exhalator super kick to JJ Justice and then throws Stephanie McMahon into the super kick of Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa leg drop to Stephanie McMahon and then arm drags Exhalator into the drop kick. Drop kicking JJ Justice out of the ring. Exhalator with another super kick to Justice and holds down the rope for Thunder Rosa to fly out on top of Justice. Exhalator back in, spiral crossbody to Stephanie McMahon, but Stephanie McMahon fall away, slams Exhalator into a ladder on the outside. Thunder Rosa drops JJ Justice on his head on that stone barricade. Exhalator went through that ladder. Stephanie McMahon splashed to Thunder Rosa after walking the top rope. Thunder Rosa back up knee to Stephanie McMahon. JJ Justice catches Thunder Rosa and suplexes her onto the steel steps and hoists her up, but Exhalator suicide dive to JJ Justice and Thunder Rosa lands safely in the crowd. Exhalator sends JJ Justice back into the ring and Thunder Rosa was crowd surfed back in front of Stephanie McMahon, and look at these strikes being exchanged back and forth. Thunder Rosa getting the best of it. Thunder Rosa's got Stephanie McMahon up. Stephanie McMahon escapes and throws Thunder Rosa face first wherever she can find a spot. And then Russian leg sweeps her into the barricade, throws her back into the ring. And all four participants back in the ring. Exhalator with a nasty submission, locked in on Justice, but Stephanie McMahon throwing Thunder Rosa to break it up and picks up Exhalator, brain buster to Exhalator, and then a slap by Stephanie to Thunder Rosa. Stephanie slamming Thunder Rosa face first in the corner and picks her up to the second rope and a back body drop from the second rope. Thunder Rosa back to her feet but eats a forearm by JJ Justice. A German suplex sending Thunder Rosa inside out. Exhalator with a drop kick to Justice. Stephanie McMahon misses a shot to Exhalator. Exhalator's got her up and slams her down. Back first, center of the ring. JJ Justice with a knee to Exhalator. Thunder Rosa trips JJ Justice coming in to Exhalator with a boot. Stephanie McMahon's got Exhalator, but Exhalator head scissoring Stephanie into JJ Justice and Thunder Rosa. Up to the top rope, Exhalator with a flipping stomp, and Thunder Rosa frog splash on top of the pile of champions. Exhalator up to the top rope, misses the crossbody. Justice able to avoid it, and a knee by Justice taking Exhalator off the apron. Thunder Rosa trying to head scissor Justice, but Stephanie McMahon catches Thunder Rosa, and what a combination. Cutter, a cutter bomb. Injustice, German suplex to Thunder Rosa, and Stephanie McMahon completes it with a clothesline. And Stephanie locks in a deep Boston Crab. Justice on the apron. Justice going for a shooting star press to Exhalator. Exhalator catches him and drops him on his head with a tombstone pile driver. Stephanie still has the Boston Crab locked in, but Thunder Rosa able to counter into the stomp. Thunder Rosa picks up Stephanie McMahon, has got her up for a power bomb, but Stephanie Hurricane Run is Thunder Rosa out onto the apron. Stephanie out onto the apron, and Stephanie with a drop kick to the side to the ribs of Thunder Rosa, dropping her to the floor. But Thunder Rosa throwing Stephanie into the ladder, and Thunder Rosa picking Stephanie McMahon up, puts her on the ladder. And look at this. No, Stephanie McMahon escapes the powerbomb attempt and throws Thunder Rosa into the cage. Picks Thunder Rosa up with the ladder and slams her into that steel wall. Stephanie McMahon slamming the ladder into the ribcage of Thunder Rosa and stomping knees. All kinds of strikes to Thunder Rosa. Exhalator's got JJ Justice. No Justice reverses. And look at that. Guts Exhalator on top of the Doomsday Select sign. Hanging him up to dry. And then a leg drop sends Exhalator flying off that sign. Stephanie McMahon with the ladder back in the ring and sets the ladder up, and Stephanie climbs the ladder, and Justice meets her, and the champions both climbing to the top. But Thunder Rosa throws them both off the ladder, tilting the ladder. And Thunder Rosa sets the ladder back up. Stephanie McMahon springboard drop kick the Thunder Rosa off the ladder. And now Stephanie using the ladder to prop herself up. Exhalator back in the ring. Exhalator springing off the back of Thunder Rosa. 450 splash to JJ Justice. Oh man, Exhalator pulling Justice back on top of the barricade. Exhalator decapitator taking down part of the barricade. And Stephanie McMahon back to her feet, but gets shotgun drop kicked into the ladder by Thunder Rosa, and Thunder Rosa picking Stephanie up. Fire Thunder driver on through the ladder. And Thunder Rosa now setting that ladder up in the corner. It's got a big dent in it, and I think she's going to try to use Stephanie McMahon to try to get that dent out. See if she can use it to climb. My God, she's got Stephanie McMahon on her shoulders on the top rope. Fire Thunder driver. And I think it actually worked. Using Stephanie to get the dent out of the ladder and then diving off the top rope, throwing Stephanie McMahon out of the ring. And Thunder Rosa gonna take home this match if she can pull down the titles. But that ladder is not gonna do. That ladder has been destroyed. Thunder Rosa going to find a new ladder out of the ring, but Stephanie McMahon kicks her head first back into the apron. Exhalator on the barricade, 450 splash to Stephanie McMahon. And Exhalator pulls out a ladder, but Justice behind Exhalator and slams him face first into the ladder. Thunder Rosa moves the ladder, JJ Justice choke slamming Exhalator into the apron. Stephanie McMahon setting the ladder back up. And Thunder Rosa has climbed up on her announce table. Justice and Stephanie McMahon completely unaware. Drop kick by Thunder Rosa off of her announce desk. Sends Justice on top of the ladder, and then Thunder Rosa glides over Justice on top of Stephanie McMahon. My God. Reverse Rana to Stephanie into the cage, and then climbing the cage was Stephanie. All the way to the top. Big strike to Stephanie. Stephanie coming back with shots. Fighting for her life. But Thunder Rosa comes around the back door. And crucifix. Trying to crucifix Stephanie McMahon off the top of that cage. Exhalator climbs to the top of the wall. 450 splash with a steel chair through the ladder. Thunder Rosa crucifix Stephanie McMahon down to the ground. And Thunder Rosa and Exhalator, I think, are going to take this match if they can get a ladder and climb it. Thunder Rosa standing on top of that steel structure, and my God, she just leaped to the titles. Thunder Rosa has unclipped the men's and women's titles, and she drops with them safely into Exhalator's arms. And your winners and new mixed tag team champions, Exhalator and Thunder Rosa, Thunder and Lightning. And we are backstage. LCW champion Bianca Belair and her faction mate in the $1 Million Foundation are going at it. Beth Phoenix just throwing Bianca Belair back first into that cement block and then back first onto that concrete. Stomping on Bianca Belair. Beth Phoenix is not happy. She is not the world champion in the $1 Million Foundation. What a kick there by Bianca Belair, trying to get back into this backstage fight. This is not an official fight. These two are just going at it after that mixed tag team match. Bianca Belair flip dive and picks up Beth Phoenix, slamming her into that wall and onto the concrete. Bianca Belair not going down without a fight. Will these two ever be able to recover as faction mates? I don't think so. Beth Phoenix slamming Bianca Belair into that wall. Bianca Belair. Oh my God. Beth Phoenix using her arms and pulling her into that wall. It's got her up on her shoulders. Bianca Belair escapes and throwing Beth Phoenix into the wall, but misses that kick. And Beth Phoenix just throwing Bianca Belair. Bianca comes back, tripping Beth Phoenix and picks her up. Powerbomb. Oh my, slamming her ribs first into that wall. And Bianca Belair powerbombs her into the wall and onto the concrete. Bianca says, "You want my world title, you better not miss." And what a German suplex back onto the concrete. But I got a diving headbutt by Beth Phoenix. Not going down and out just yet. And now going for that glam slam. She's got Bianca up over her head. Glam slam. Letting all the blood rush to the head of Bianca Belair. Oh my God, a glam slam into that concrete block hole. And now look at that. Beth Phoenix with a cinder block. She's going to drop it on the head of Bianca. And look, thank God, security there to deter Beth Phoenix from dropping that cinder block on the head of Bianca. And Ted DiBiase trying to talk some sense into Beth Phoenix. Or you can find a new group. Hey Ted, I ain't going nowhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Skella J and Bobby Lashley. And we are going to find out the stipulation between these two for the new level championship. And with 87% of the vote, the fans want to see what Skella J's rules is. Skella J, you have won the fan vote, and everybody's wondering, what is your stipulation? Bobby. Have I got a stipulation for you? You want my championship? Well, this is a loser shaves their head match. You gotta be a loser is bald match. So Julia Price, go ahead, come down here and raise my hand because Bobby, this man is bald. And this match is over before it can even begin. The bell has just rang and rang again. Bobby Lashley going for a spear on Skella J. Skella J with a super kick to Bobby Lashley. This match is over. Skella J has won the new level championship match here tonight. Believe it or not, the fans voted for this, and Skella J laughing it up because he is a very smart man, and he's going to hold on to his title another night longer. And he's going to powerbomb Bobby Lashley. Billy Graham in the way, though. And Skella J jumping over Billy Graham with Bobby Lashley. Powerbombing him off the stage. That's Doomsday Select. Anything can happen. And anything just did happen. Because I am just fine. Billy Graham checking on Bobby Lashley after that insane powerbomb. Give me a mic. Now don't be fooled. I am always willing to defend my championship, but I also am here to outsmart all the idiots backstage who want a shot at my title. Andre, I was hoping to get a chance to talk to you tonight. What the hell are you thinking? You're just gonna switch up on me on Punk? That's how it is. And Bobby Lashley speared at Scott Hall. Scott Hall was trying to sneak attack Skella J. And there comes Punk. Punk diving at Andre. Can't believe Bobby Lashley is helping Skella J. Andre the Giant just back body drop Punk. Back body drop to Scott Hall by Bobby Lashley. And now Skeletor stomping down on Scott Hall and Bobby Lashley after what just transpired. I can't believe he is not going to war with Skeletor. But Bobby Lashley has got a good conscience on him, and he is not going to let the NWO get away with this. But Andre the Giant just absorbed Bobby Lashley's spear. Skeletor, oh my God, trying to ram. He's ramming Scott Hall's head into that spike. Bobby Lashley, Olympic slam to the Giant, and CM Punk heavy shots to the head of his former friend, his former partner. What is going through the head of Andre the Giant? I hope we get answers on Desolation. Skeletor pulling Punk off of Andre. Punk trying to get some last shots in. That was crazy what just transpired. Coming up next, huge triple threat action. Will it be Falls Count Anywhere? Will Tajiri have to reveal his mentor tonight, or will it be a triple threat elimination? Alright guys, we are here to find out what the triple threat between you three will be. The fans have voted, and it is, with 67% of the vote, a triple threat tag team match. Triple threat action, Hurricane and Rosie versus Justin Tom and Sabu versus Tajiri. And we're going to find out what we've been wanting to know for a while now. Who is Tajiri's mentor? The following contest is a triple threat tag team match. Introducing first, Rosie and Hurricane, Seekers of Justice. And their opponents, Sabu and Justin Tom. Sabu is also a mentor to Justin Tom, but he says he doesn't hide like whoever Tajiri's partner is, whoever Tajiri's mentor is, and we are about to find out. Introducing first, the Japanese buzzsaw, Tajiri, and his opponent. Wait a minute. You gotta be kidding me. Tajiri's in the NWO? And all the lights have just shut off. What is going on? Who is that masked man? Says bye-bye on his coat and in his hair. It's Muda! Muda, that's where he went earlier tonight. Is he saying bye-bye to NWO? The world champion? Can he do that? Muda is putting his mask on a young kid in the front row. How awesome is that? Tajiri and Muda. What a pairing. And it all makes sense now. And here we go, starting off with Justin Time, Tajiri and Hurricane. Tajiri trips Justin Time and Hurricane with a drop kick to Tajiri on Justin Time. Tajiri rolls up Hurricane. And Hurricane kick to the head of Tajiri into a back body drop by Justin Tom, but Tajiri lands on his feet, goes for a head kick. Justin Tom ducks underneath, back body drops Tajiri into a Hurricane Rana on the Hurricane, but Tajiri turns it into a snapmare, gets kicked in the chest by Hurricane, and Hurricane trying to Hurricane Rana Tajiri out, but Tajiri counters. Ducks underneath the clothesline attempt of Justin Time and a handstand into Hurricane. And an arm drag to Justin Time. Another snapmare, center of the ring, drop kick. And Tajiri is on fire. Ducks underneath the uppercut attempt and runs into a shot by Rosie in the Seeker's corner. Tajiri underneath Justin Time and has got him hooked. Springboard moonsault by Hurricane and tags in Rosie. And comes Super Rosie springing off the rope, and Hurricane kicks him into a shooting star press. And he hits Tajiri and Justin Tom. What a double team maneuver. Misses the backsplash to Justin Tom. Justin Tom misses that shot, and Rosie springing off the rope to a slice spread, lands on his feet, picks Justin Time up. Now a big body slam. He was going to slam him on Tajiri, but Tajiri misses that head kick attempt, and a reverse back body drop by Rosie, and a baseball drop kick off the apron goes Tajiri to the floor. Justin Tom went for a move there on Rosie, but Rosie with a big clothesline sending him back into the ring, tagging his mentor Sabu. Sabu over the shoulder of Rosie, goes for the arm drag into a hammerlock, and Tajiri back on the apron, and spiral splash to Rosie, and then a super kick to Sabu. Tajiri. Nice tilt-a-whirl head scissor to Rosie. Little misdirect to get the bigger man off his feet. And Muta asks for the tag. Muta is legal in this tag team match. The mentor of Tajiri. Big chop to Rosie. Ducks underneath Sabu's attack attempt. And a shotgun drop kick to Sabu. Sabu tags in just in time. Justin Tom goes for a clothesline, but gets rolled up by Muta. And Muta sending Justin Tom in. Rosie's got Justin Tom up. And face buster to Justin Tom. Muta out of the way. Muta sending Rosie into Justin Tom. And a big shot by Muta to Rosie. And look at that reverse head scissoring Justin Tom into Sabu, coming at Muta and gets a scissor kick out of the ring. Justin Tom comes at Muta, but Rosie rolls up Muta. And Rosie using Muta, slamming him into Justin Tom, power bombing him into Justin Tom's back twice, and tags in Hurricane. Hurricane on the shoulders of Rosie, and Rosie catapulting Hurricane. What a spiral splash, and then a drop saw off of Justin Tom onto Muta. Justin Tom back up to his feet. And nice big ending to Hurricane on top of Muta. Hurricane misses the head kick. Justin Tom picks up Hurricane. And Justin Tom, my God, a steamroller with Hurricane inside out. Justin Tom goes for a kick, but Tajiri avoids it and reverses Justin Tom into a tarantula. Will he get it in? And he's got the tarantula locked in. Sabu breaks it up, drop kicking off the chest of Tajiri out of the ring. And then Hurricane suicide diving, DDTing Sabu's head into the apron. And then Muta comes charging between the ropes. Catches Hurricane, but Hurricane countering Muta. Oh my God. Crucifix onto the top turnbuckle. Then a top rope powerbomb to Muta onto Justin Tom. Tags in Rosie. Rosie cross-bodying Muta. And the Seekers of Justice looking great in this triple threat tag team match. Muta picks up Rosie and a big slam to Rosie. And gets mowed down by Justin Tom. Justin Tom springing off the second rope, but gets back suplex by Muta. Muta head scissoring Sabu onto Rosie and Justin Tom, and tags in Tajiri. Tajiri springing off the top rope moonsault onto Sabu. Big shots buzzsawing down Justin Tom. Goes for the head kick. Justin Tom misses. Goes for the forearm, misses. And Hurricane, what a knee to the back of the head of Tajiri into Justin Tom. Sending Tajiri out onto the apron. And Hurricane trips Tajiri on the apron. Shooting star press onto Tajiri on the apron. And now out of the ring and gets a suicide dive by Justin Time onto both Hurricane and Tajiri. And twisting suplex onto the steel. And pulls Hurricane back. Justin Tom got Hurricane slamming him into the steel and back into the ring. Just in time, gets taken down by Rosie. Rosie back elbow after a clothesline, ducks underneath. Just in time, picks him up. Black hole slam by Super Rosie. Out on the apron, springs in. Leg drop off the second rope, hits the rope. And look at Sabu. Rosie sees Sabu in his peripheral and stops, but splashes his partner just in time. Hits the ropes, and Sabu, my God, able to hoist up Rosie on his shoulder, clotheslines him up onto his shoulder somehow. Is he going to electric chair him onto that table? Oh my God, look at the strength of Sabu. Gorilla press slam, but Rosie escapes. And Sabu springing off that rope, clotheslining Rosie. Here comes Hurricane Rana. Oh, stomping Sabu through the table. What a match. What action we are seeing just in time. Takes Rosie over. And catches Rosie on the rebound. Picks him up. Brain buster to Rosie, but just in time. And just in time. Flipping knees into the ribs of Rosie. Picks him up. Back suplex to Rosie. And look at that deep pin. But Tajiri intercepts and breaks it up. Just in time. I think he had the match won if Tajiri break it up. What a head kick. Super kick to Hurricane. Pulls him back in after tripping him on the apron. Tajiri's got Hurricane set up. Pulling him back. Muta makes the tag. And Tajiri sending Hurricane into his partner. Just in time. Drop kick to Hurricane. That was it. Rosie's arm, Muta moonsault onto the pile, just in time. And Rosie showing their defiance, not staying down, but Muta with the big finger strikes and sending Rosie out by his head, throwing away to the floor. Hurricane backs up into a kick by Tajiri. Muta with a flipping head kick to Hurricane. And now Muta jawbreaker to just in time. And back body dropping just in time. Out of the ring perhaps. No, throws him, stomping him into the ribs of Hurricane and then trips him into Hurricane. Muta using his opponents as a weapon. Sabu springs up and Muta meets him up and head scissors him back into the ring on top of his partner. And now Muta lining him up, a three-way kick connecting with all three men. Not slowing down as his foot connected with each man's head. And now stacking bodies. Rosie tried to come in and make the save, but Muta cut him down. Muta grabs just in time by his jaw and throws him face first into the pile. Tags Tajiri, and what a nice mentor Muta is, letting Tajiri get the win in dominating fashion. And your winners, the Great Muta and Tajiri. Get these two a title shot immediately because they just absolutely stole the show. Wait a minute, Disciple trips Tajiri and Muta, taking out Disciple. You didn't think NWO was just going to let Muta walk away on a steel cage 5-on-5 and leave him hanging. Undertaker coming after Muta. Muta, heavy strikes to Undertaker, but Disciple and Muta tear down Muta with a 2-on-1 advantage, stomping on forearms. Undertaker holding Muta as Disciple with shots, and Tajiri diving between the ropes. Tajiri with a kick to the head of Undertaker. And on the shoulders of Undertaker. But Undertaker throws Tajiri off of him, and Disciple, what forearms to Muta. So much going on with NWO right now. Undertaker with a boot to Tajiri. They got the big win in the 5-on-5, but it was not thanks to Muta. It was thanks to Andre the Giant, the man that Muta beat at the last pay. You won last Hurricane out of nowhere, diving on Undertaker, and Rosie helping out Muta. The Seekers definitely do not like NWO or corrupt factions like NWO. Muta and Rosie throwing Disciple. Hurricane and Rosie giving the nod to Muta, and NWO even more pissed. And it is now tag team action after the Rascals intercepted NWO's tag team match, which they would have had to pull double duties. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Alrighty, y'all ready to find out how y'all will be competing tonight? If you look up at the screen, the Death Grips Tag Team Champions will be decided with 49% of the vote. A steel cage fight. Good luck, y'all. Making their way to the ring. The #1 contenders for the Death Grips Tag Team Champions, Wesley and Zachary Wentz, Rascals. And their opponents, the Death Grips Tag Team Champions, Zeus and Bruce. I don't think I've ever seen such dominance with these two. They're dominating one of the most terrifying teams I've ever seen, the Bludgeon Brothers, with ease. Zeus and Bruce go into this steel cage match with Rascals, and you gotta ask yourselves, can the Rascals survive this? And if they beat Zeus and Bruce, is that a miracle? Julia Price showing the titles to the Rascals before this steel cage fight gets underway. Steel cage fight. Zachary Wentz starting off with Bruce. Bruce sending Zachary Wentz into the corner, but Zachary Wentz out of the way and kicks Bruce further to the post and out onto the apron. And Zachary Wentz drop kicking the back of Bruce, and they come in between, up under the cage and the floor. And Wesley, what a kick to the back. Bruce pulling them out from under the cage, and they are outside the cage wall now. And Zeus, what a shot to the back of Wesley. Rascals cannot afford to take big shots like if they want to win this match, because it doesn't take many of those shots. These two dominant champions. Zachary Wentz coming out between, up under the cage now, and swinging a chair. He brought a chair with him into the gut of Zeus. Trips him in a drop kick, basement drop kick. And Zachary Wentz with a steel chair and leg drops it into Bruce, the back of Bruce's head. Wesley up, Zachary Wentz on the cage, springs off the cage but gets caught. And Zeus throwing Zachary Wentz onto that steel platform. Wesley jumps on it and a punt kick, but gets slammed back on it by Bruce. And Bruce has got Wesley up and slamming Wesley into the cage. Over and over as he climbs up with Wesley in his arms and grinding the back of Wesley's back into that cage. Wesley trying to escape, but Bruce not letting him, and he climbs all the way up to the top. This is not like the 5-on-5 from earlier where you have to pin your opponent on top of the cage. There's no platform or Julia Price. This is when inside the ring or just until one team cannot continue. Wesley, oh my god, just send Bruce flying from the top of the cage. And as Zeus goes after to avenge his brother, Zachary Wentz, with a kick to the back of the head of Zeus, making him fall off the side of the cage. And the Rascals might have a shot after all. Zachary Wentz going for the table under the ring and setting it up. And he's on that steel platform, flipping off of it. Hurricane Rana to Zeus, but Zeus holds on and he says, hell no. Zeus slamming Zachary Wentz side to side into that steel platform, into where we're sitting on our announce disc, power bombs him up here, and throws him onto the table. And Zeus now has plans for that table, and a steel chair in hand. Headshot to Zachary Wentz with the chair, and Zeus throwing Zachary Wentz back onto the table. And climbing up now the side of the cage. Wesley trying to crawl away in game plan, but Zeus running after him, slamming him down on the cage. And Zeus now has got him up. Gorilla press, slamming onto his knee on top of the cage. And a big lariat by Zeus. And a knee to the back of the head of Wesley by Zeus. And grinding Wesley's head into the cage. Picks Wesley up, fall away slam on top of the cage, but misses the elbow drop. Wesley enziguri and a chop, but gets a big shot at Wesley. Teetering on the side of the cage, but manages to hit a Pele. Pele to the head of Zeus, and Zeus may be out. Wesley up to his feet. And Wesley reverse Rana, but no. Zeus holds on and slams Wesley down. And now stomping the hands of Wesley. Wesley trying to crawl away from Zeus, but Zeus having none of it. Big shots to the back by Zeus to Wesley, and he's gonna powerbomb him. No, Wesley counters Hurricane Rana. No! Zeus! Styles clash off the cage onto his partner Zachary Wentz on the table, and that table did not break. But Zeus is not finished. Powerbombing onto Zachary Wentz, slams him onto our announce platform, and that table could not withstand the force of Zeus. Throwing Wesley through the table. How did that table not break with them being Styles Clash from the top of that cage? Zeus coming down on top of Wesley and Zachary Wentz, but that table, they are not built to break. But when somebody like Zeus wants that table to break, it will break. Zeus spikes Wesley's head into the mat, and Bruce flying across Wesley into a Boston Crab, while Zeus is also pulling Wesley in half, and that's it. Julia Price has ring the damn bell. Wesley in half, and Zeus and Bruce dominate and retain. The Rascals got some really good shots in here tonight, showing that they can go toe-to-toe with the Death Grips champion Zeus and Bruce. But last week we had a backstage brawl. Tonight it's Doomsday. Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay go to battle one more time. Alright fellas, it's time to find out what kind of match stipulation you guys are having. And it turns out, with 92% of the vote, the fans want to see you guys go one-on-one. While the fans just want to see Kenny and Will Ospreay go one-on-one. making his way to the ring. Kenny Omega. No special stipulation, just two men. Face to face, center of the ring. Who is the best on this night? And his opponent, the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay. Representing Sky Team, Ospreay. And Ospreay flying at Omega. Omega goes for the V-trigger. Ospreay ducks underneath. And we are in for a classic. These two are going to fill each other out. And then we're going to see two master classes go at it. Two of the best to enter the squared circle. And we are going to see who's got the better nutrition, because we know these two are very evenly matched. Ospreay on the back of Omega, traps the leg, and Omega is caught right here, but not for too long. Omega finding out an escape, but Ospreay picks Omega up. Knee to knee contact, knee breaker, and then a Japanese leg whip. And now Ospreay on the back of Omega going for a submission. He's got the knee in the lower back, but Omega gets to his back. And Ospreay now has his back exposed, and Omega with a hammerlock. Ospreay trying to go back into the corner, but Omega with knees to the gut, and Ospreay reverses, sends Omega into the corner. Big chop, and Omega off the back of Ospreay, and a big chop by Omega, and trips Ospreay, floats over, and a deep hammerlock. Ospreay trying to get to the ropes, and he does. Julia Prost making Omega break, but Omega pulling Ospreay back. Ospreay flips over the back of Omega and gets wrist control and pulls Omega down to the mat. Omega reverses, and Ospreay rolls Omega up. Omega rolls back, picks Ospreay up. Ospreay still has that wrist, not for long. Ospreay off the back of Omega, underneath the V-trigger, but Omega with that dunk, dunking Ospreay's head, center of the ring, forearm, pushing him back into the ropes. Ospreay handstand spring over the back of Omega, and then a drop salt landing on his feet. Hurricane Rana, and lands on his feet into a neck breaker. Nice move there by Ospreay. A little misdirect. Oh man, and he eats a V-trigger, going for the Os Cutter too early. Omega rolls him up in a very tight pin. No, that cradle was not enough, but that V-trigger was devastating, and Omega stomps Ospreay down into the mat, up to the top rope, missile drop kick, and a kip up by Omega. Ospreay misses the clothesline, and Omega, vicious snapdragon, and Omega holding on, but Ospreay rolling back. And Ospreay picks up Omega. Omega kicking out. But Ospreay holds on, and Ospreay Styles Clash, center of the ring. Misses the hidden blade, and a drop kick by Omega. Omega out on the apron. Ospreay meets him there. Ducks underneath the clothesline. Ospreay kicks off the turnbuckle and Spanish fly back into the ring. Ospreay, Os Cutter nails it that time. And the pin, a deep pin there by Ospreay. but Omega kicks out at 2. And Omega grabs the Dragon Sleeper, wrapping the legs around Ospreay. Ospreay fighting to get out of this Dragon Sleeper. It's sunk in center of the ring. Omega's feet around Ospreay. That's in deep. He's got the arm trapped as well. Ospreay, he may go out, but he rolls back. Beautiful counter and picks up Omega. Tombstone. Tombstone counter to get out of the Dragon submission, and then a basement lariat picks Omega up. Yeah, the arms butterfly, but Omega able to escape. Deep 6 into the corner. Omega goes for a V-trigger in the corner. Ospreay out of the way. And Ospreay powerbomb center of the ring. Springs up to the top rope. And Ospreay with a spiral tap. But Omega able to escape. Pick Ospreay up. Spring him off the top rope. And a corner powerbomb. Ospreay back to his feet. Gets a big chop by Omega. Omega Snapdragon. High angle Snapdragon. And Ospreay using the ropes trying to stand up. Omega sizing him up. V-trigger. Pulls him back center of the ring for another Snapdragon. And Omega tearing apart Ospreay at this point, but runs into a clothesline by Ospreay. Ospreay, don't count him out just yet. He's on the apron. Springs in off the second rope. Over the back of Omega. Picks him up on his shoulders. And a torture rack. Omega in the torture rack. And Ospreay into a bomb, torture rack bomb, floats through. Mega Canadian Destroyer counter. And Ospreay, Death Valley Driver. Omega going for the sliced bread. Will Ospreay counters, gets thrown into the corner, and Omega corner drop kick, slides under the ropes. On the apron, pulls Ospreay out onto the apron. And a Snapdragon on the apron. Ospreay's skull bouncing off the hardest part of the ring. And Omega with a chop to the back of Ospreay. And going for another Snapdragon. Off the apron. Off the apron onto the barricade. And picks them back up, power bombs them on the barricade, and they are up here on our announce table platform. Ospreay lands on our announce desk. Omega is going for a last ride back into the ring, it looks like. And Omega up to his feet. Ospreay Hurricane Rana, and using the post and his leg strength to lift Omega back into the ring. Hurricane Rana back into the ring from in front of our announce desk. And Omega back to his feet. Misses the clothesline. Ospreay Stormbreaker. And pulls Omega back to the center of the ring. And telling Omega to get up. Ospreay lining him up. Misses the hidden blade. Omega, one winged angel, and that's gotta be it. Omega taking the victory home. No, Ospreay kicks out at 1. Unbelievable. Omega still moving. Ospreay and Omega exchanging strikes as they get back to their feet. Ospreay trips Omega. Flips over the attempt of a head kick by Omega. But Omega rolls back with Ospreay and drops Ospreay down on his neck. That's got to do it. No, Ospreay kicks out again. That was a vicious neck breaker. Ospreay, heavy strikes, trying to keep Omega grounded. Hooks the arms. And returning the favor with a Tiger Driver, dropping Omega on his neck. Floats over, deep pin, stacking him on his shoulders, but only a 2. Hidden blade finds its mark. And Ospreay with the pin. Omega kicks out at 2. Ospreay back into the corner thinking, what does he have to do to put away the best bout machine?
Kenny Omega nearly could be said about Will Ospreay.
Exactly right. Trained to go 60, went nearly 75 against Okada. And steps in Cobra Twist.
Omega steamroller into the moonsault.
You guys have seen many more Kenny Omega matches than I have. I can't see how this guy can get any better than he is now.
Omega drops up behind.
Omega, another moonsault. And Omega turning Ospreay around, and a big knee and a super kick to follow. Snapdragon. No, drops Ospreay down, floats over. Springs up, goes for the Os Cutter. Ospreay catches him, turns him around. Omega on his shoulders, Ospreay counters. Omega rolls Ospreay up. And a vicious submission here by Omega. He's got the arm trapped, elbow. Trying to touch Ospreay's elbow to his head.
1-2 kick by Ospreay.
And what an enziguri by Omega.
Balanced on the top rope.
And Omega springs up, moonsault on the apron. Throws Ospreay back in, springs up, moonsault hits its mark. Omega springs up and Ospreay crotches him on the top. Shot by Ospreay, hanging Omega up. Ospreay shooting star press to the back of Omega. Omega wincing in pain. And Ospreay and another Os Cutter off the top rope, spiking Omega. But Omega, how the hell is he still in this? Rolling Ospreay up, rolls back. Ospreay it's taken down again. They roll through. Omega rolls back. And that is a deep cover, but Ospreay kicks out. Omega with a chop. Ospreay with a boot. Omega flips onto the shoulders of Ospreay. Ospreay shrugs him off, but Omega picks him up for the one-winged angel. Ospreay counters out. Butterflies the arm of Omega. Omega drops to his knee, and what a knee there by Ospreay, and then a super kick. Returning the strikes that Omega hit earlier in the match. Powerbomb center of the ring. Flips him over. Goes for another knee. Omega out of the way. Chop to the back. Has Ospreay on his shoulder. Ospreay escapes. Picks Omega up on his shoulders. Gorilla press slam onto the knee. Ospreay picks him up on his shoulder. Back onto the knee. Ospreay, what a kick, a hook kick. Drops Omega to his knees. Ospreay takes off the elbow pad and hidden blade. 1, 2, 3. Ospreay beats Omega. What a victory for Ospreay. And Ospreay, I'm being told, is now granted a world title match for this week's Desolation. Osprey versus JJ Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, it is main event time. The Powerbomb Championship on the line. Mercedes Moné defends against Julia. And what will the stipulation be? Alright, we are here. Main event time. And on the screen you will see that your match will be Mercedes Moné's pick. A Three Amigos match. Here we go, a Three Amigos match. You have to hit your finisher 3 times in a row to win the match. Introducing the challenger, Julia. Julia has picked her move. Her and Mercedes both had to pick one move. And the referee had to keep track of them hitting 3 times. And Julia's is, of course, the striking Viper. Mercedes opted not to do the moneymaker because it is a setup of a move and have to hit that 3 times in a row. So Mercedes is going for the original Three Amigos as hers. And her opponent, the Powerbomb Champion, your CEO, Mercedes Moné. Main event time, and I am pumped. Julia, Mercedes Moné. Who is the better wrestler? We are going to find out here in the main event. Julia with a head kick to Mercedes. And we are underway, and I will go over the rules once again. Mercedes and Julia have both picked a move that they have to hit 3 consecutive times, with nothing that can happen in between those moves being hit. Or you have to hit those moves 3 times over. Mercedes Moné has picked the Three Amigos, 3 suplexes, and Julia, her signature striking Viper. Looked like Mercedes was trying to roll Julia up for a pin there. Almost forgot, but Julia, great ground work. Mercedes all over Julia, but Julia staying calm and picking her spot. Not letting Mercedes tangle her up with that crossface or many other submissions that Mercedes knows. Mercedes gets tripped up there by Julia. Goes for the stomp but misses. Mercedes misses the backhand and a big forearm by Julia. Kick to the gut, misses the head kick. Mercedes flips over the back of Julia and grabs the waist, pulls her up, picks her up on her shoulders, and sits her on the top rope. Big strikes to the back of Julia. And Mercedes pulling Julia off the top rope. Julia lands on her feet and a big kick to the chest and a head kick that time. But Mercedes trips Julia and has the back trying to get the crossface in. Julia gets to her feet. Mercedes head scissor takeover connects. Mercedes springing off the middle rope. Julia underneath. Kick to the gut. Kick to the head. And nice rolling up Mercedes, and then a knee to the gut. Hurricane Rana. Mercedes shrugs her off. Ducks underneath the super kick. And another head scissor takeover by Mercedes. Corner clothesline. And a bulldog out of the corner, but Julia holds on, and a belly to belly by Julia. Rushes in shoulder to the midsection of Mercedes and pulls her up to the top rope. Julia drops Mercedes face first on the top turnbuckle. Comes in and a moonsault off the middle turnbuckle. And Julia Anaconda Vice, but Mercedes counters out. But ends up on the shoulder of Julia, and Julia's got the arm of Mercedes trapped behind her back and slams her down with her arm trapped, and then a basement kick. Butterfly suplex. Julia starting to build a lot of momentum here, but Mercedes, as soon as I said that, counters out with an epic counter and slams Julia into the corner, ties her up in the tree of woe, chop to the chest. And another big chop to the chest as Julia is trapped in the corner. Mercedes hits the ropes, misses the drop kick. Julia misses the moonsault, and Mercedes runs her over there. Mercedes with another forearm. German suplex. Julia landing tight on the back of her neck, misses the kick. Mercedes comes back with another head scissor. Beautiful, but Julia lands on her feet, out to the apron, tells Julia Price to move out of the way, and a missile drop kick by the challenger. Julia out on the apron, and a second one, Mercedes out of the way. And Julia runs into a head kick by Mercedes. Mercedes walking the rope into a missile drop kick, out onto the apron, up to the top rope. Frog splash connects. And Mercedes rolling through with Julia. And Julia in the Three Amigos. The first one connects. Julia Price says one, but striking Viper. Striking Viper by Julia and picks Mercedes back up. Mercedes on the shoulder escapes the second striking Viper and starts over the Three Amigos. She hits one, but she lets go. Julia with strikes to Mercedes and trips her. Mercedes back to her feet, gets the back of Julia, and an arm drag to Julia, and Julia misses the drop kick and eats an uppercut by Mercedes. Mercedes with a back body drop to Julia. Julia out onto the apron, and Mercedes misses the drop kick to Julia on the apron, and Julia pulls Mercedes out onto the apron. Striking Viper on the hardest part of the ring and pulls Mercedes back in for the second one. Can she hit it? And she'll be one away from becoming the new Powerbomb champion. Mercedes bounces off the mat off of that one, and Mercedes quickly making sure Julia does not hit the third striking Viper in a row. And now Mercedes looking desperate. She has got to be in a lot of pain after eating all those striking Vipers. But she still manages to hit a burning hammer to Julia. Julia holding her neck. And then Mercedes. What a suicide dive. And one Amigo on the steel outside. Mercedes hops up there with Julia and hops over by our announce desk Meteora, and that will start over the Three Amigos, but that was a great Meteora. Lots of impact, and the first Amigo hits on the steel. Second Amigo on the floor. What impact, Mercedes. Going for the third one if this one hits. No. Julia counters out, and a head breaker. Head to the back of Mercedes' head, drops to her knees. That was vicious. Julia throwing Mercedes onto the platform and then jumps up here and stomps down on Mercedes. And Julia suplexing Mercedes into this platform and a forearm to Mercedes on the barricade. Julia heavy strikes to the champion, but Mercedes catches her. And Mercedes has got her caught. Cross-face submission. Julia panicking to get out. And she's able to flip through and pull Mercedes up on our announce desk. Slams her down on the announce desk. And Julia with a knee to the gut of Mercedes. And picks her up. Julia's got Mercedes on her announce desk, drops her striking Viper number 1. Picks her back up and kicks the monitor over to her other foot so she can use it to propel Mercedes back into the ring with the second striking Viper. And if she hits this one, we have a new champion. Hits the 3 amigos with 3 striking Vipers. Mercedes' own stipulation comes back to bite her in the ass here tonight. Julia is the new Powerbomb champion. Congratulations. Mercedes is seething. Thank you for joining us here tonight. This has been Doomsday Select, and we will see you on Desolation.